There are times in life when we find it nearly impossible to let go of things that cause us pain, love, friendships, hardships, or deep-seated wounds. This inability to release what weighs us down often traps us in cycles of suffering, leaving us feeling stuck, exhausted, and unhappy. How can we learn to let go and embrace a life of peace and happiness? Let us explore this profound question through the lens of Buddhist teachings and practical wisdom. Letting go means releasing all attachments, cravings, and clinging, a core practice in Buddhism, where letting go is synonymous with the path to spiritual liberation. Among the many forms of attachment, the most binding is craving. Craving creates the illusion of fulfillment but ultimately leads to suffering, as we chase fleeting pleasures or cling to impermanent things. The act of letting go is not about losing something but gaining freedom from the chains of attachment. It's a process of unburdening ourselves, lightening the mental and emotional baggage that hinders our ability to live fully. Craving refers to the feelings of attraction or aversion that we develop toward people, objects, or experiences. In life, we cling to countless things: our parents, friends, pets, hobbies, material possessions, and even intangible elements like memories and desires. This clinging arises because we mistakenly believe these attachments are essential for our happiness. When we interact with people or objects, we experience sensations, feelings, that give rise to craving. For example, tasting a delicious ice cream creates a pleasurable sensation. This sensation leads to craving and the desire to possess more, attachment. However, the joy derived from these experiences is temporary, and the pursuit of more can lead to dissatisfaction. The Buddha described this craving as a chain that binds us. In the simile of the honeyed knife, the Buddha likened it to a drop of honey on the edge of a sharp blade. Although the honey is sweet, the blade is dangerous. Similarly, cravings bring fleeting pleasure but also lasting harm. This is the sweetness of desire that entices us into suffering. In the discourse on the end of anxiety, the Buddha taught, beings are countless, endlessly circling in samsara like ants around a tree, unable to escape, enveloped by craving and ignorance. They are like mountains submerged in mud, unable to rise above their suffering. Since time immemorial, beings have wandered in samsara through endless lifetimes. Blinded by desire, craving intensifies suffering. Likened to drinking salt water to quench thirst, the more we indulge, the thirstier we become. This unquenchable nature of desire keeps us bound to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Humans cling to attachments for several reasons. First, we fear loss, believing it equates to emptiness. Second, we derive a sense of identity from what we own, who we are with, or what we desire. Lastly, we are conditioned to equate attachment with love or security. But the Buddha reminds us that true love and security arise from a state of inner peace and contentment, not external dependencies. In the Dhammapada, he states, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. By understanding the impermanence of all phenomena, we can begin to loosen our grip on attachments and find freedom within ourselves. The Buddha emphasized that the root of suffering lies in our attachments and cravings. Learning to let go is a profound step toward freedom and inner peace. Below are practical steps inspired by Buddhist wisdom. 1. Recognize and abandon craving. The first step is to recognize craving in our thoughts, feelings, and actions. By becoming aware of our attachments, we can begin the process of letting go. The Buddha taught that mindfulness and meditation help us observe the mind without judgment, enabling us to see the transient nature of all things. For example, when we feel anger or sadness about a situation, we can pause, observe our emotions, and ask, "What am I holding on to? Why does this attachment cause me pain?" This mindful inquiry often reveals the impermanence and futility of clinging. 2. Cultivate right understanding. Reflecting on impermanence helps us detach from clinging. Nothing in life is permanent. Relationships, possessions, and even our own bodies are subject to change and decay. The Buddha's teaching on the Four Noble Truths reminds us that understanding the impermanent nature of existence is the key to reducing suffering. For instance, if a cherished flower is taken away, instead of feeling anger, we can reflect. Flowers bloom and wither. Their disappearance is part of nature's cycle. This understanding softens our emotional response and helps us accept reality. 3. Reflect on cause and effect, karma. By contemplating karma, we can learn to accept and let go of difficult situations. For example, when a marriage experiences discord, rather than harboring resentment, we can recognize that relationships are subject to karmic causes and conditions. Understanding this allows us to practice forgiveness and focus on present moment healing. 4. Embrace loving kindness and forgiveness. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning compassion. Instead, it involves cultivating a forgiving heart. The Buddha taught that forgiving others is a means of freeing ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment. When we let go of past hurts, we create space for peace and joy in the present. 5. Meditate on the nature of non-attachment. Meditation is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice. Techniques such as vipassana and metta bhavana help us disentangle from attachment and cultivate a mind that is calm, clear, and unshaken by external circumstances. Practical examples of letting go. Example 1. You deeply cherish a relationship, but your partner has changed. Instead of clinging to how things used to be, reflect on the impermanence of emotions and relationships. This allows you to accept and even improve the bond by approaching it with understanding and compassion. Example 2. You lose a valuable possession. Instead of feeling anger or regret, recognize that all material things are subject to loss. This awareness brings a sense of peace and gratitude for what remains. Example 3. A setback at work might feel devastating. However, by letting go of the fear of failure, you can focus on learning from the experience and seeking new opportunities. Resilience is born from acceptance, not resistance.